My background's actually in the sciences, and I've worked a lot of my career. I've worked in natural and earth sciences most of my career, including on big data and modeling. So I do appreciate much of what the recommendations are that have come from our experts. But I'm especially grateful that you're here, Mr. Thier, because when the huge abomination of a bill, I'll call it, came down the pike, my eye actually caught the specific language and funding appropriation in the bill that you referenced in your testimony. And I think many of us were confused about where it came from, what its intent is, and this is the first time I've had the opportunity to actually ask some questions, so I'm glad you're here. And as I understand it from my look into your background, that you've actually been directly involved in developing this language and request, is that correct?
Not that language. I've written about moratoria in the past, though, going back to the 1990s when I worked with Congress on the Internet Tax Freedom Act.
Got it, okay. So you mentioned that part of why this deregulation language is in here that would preempt state and local laws regarding the regulation of AI systems is in part because of this $500 million request that's in the bill. Can you help us understand what would that $500 million be used to do specifically?
Going back to the bipartisan House AI Task Force report from last December, there was a major section that led off the report about the need for government modernization of IT
Just
systems.
some specifics.
So specifically at the Department of Commerce, there's a need to actually improve how various programs function there, including new ones that have just been created.
Just some specifics, like what kind of systems would be built with this $500 million?
Well, I don't know exactly. I don't know the answer to that, Congresswoman. I'm sorry. I don't know specifically what Commerce will use that money for going forward.
Do you know where this request came from?
You'd have to ask the House Energy and Commerce Committee specifically, who put the bill forward, that language forward in the.
Do you know what companies would benefit from this language?
No, but I do know that there is a broad need for many different types of vendors and services to be utilized by the federal government, not just large.
So this would likely go to private contracts, correct?
It would go to many private contracts,
Yes,
certainly.
okay.
Yeah.
And some of the leading contractors who do work in this area that already have government contracts are companies like Palantir, correct?
I believe that's one of many, but there's many other vendors of IT services and AI.
So correct, yes. And I heard you argue just a few moments ago when Mr. Higgins was asking you about this preemption language that it was needed because there would be integration of data from state and local entities. And it's my understanding, I think others have kind of alluded to this, that right now the Trump administration is working on creating some sort of master database that brings together data from multiple different sources across state lines. And in fact, there was a request that went out to the states asking for data about SNAP beneficiaries because my understanding is Homeland Security is interested in integrating data for immigration enforcement purposes. So they would like to integrate data using the census data that they hacked in, exfiltrated, and downloaded. They'd like to integrate data with the immigration databases that they have. And now they're asking states to send data that falls under state jurisdiction to integrate for immigration enforcement. And, you know, you can call it whatever you want. I've heard folks say this is not a master database, but it absolutely is. And we know that the Trump administration is trying to take American data and hire private companies like Palantir to create means to use American data for their own policy ends, including endangering the lives of Americans. So I think that one of the reasons why folks are reacting so strongly to this language that's in this bill is because it's so extreme. And yesterday I heard Marjorie Taylor Greene, I was standing on the floor while she gave a speech on this very language that's in this bill that would literally say that states and localities cannot enforce their own data rules or AI. It preempts federalism, it preempts state law. It would prevent states from protecting their own citizens. And, you know, it's rare these days that we have bipartisan agreement, but I agree with literally everything that Marjorie Taylor Greene said on the floor yesterday. This is dangerous. It could endanger American lives, and we cannot allow this language to get through. And with that, I yield back.